morning, viewers. Once again, welcome to Baraton TV, here and hereafter, coming to you from the beautiful campus of the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. Once again, we bring to you our program, The Science Behind Health. And today we have a guest in studio. Please tell us who you are.
Uh, good morning, viewers. We are grateful to be here. And my name is Mikhail Junga. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Biological Sciences, lecturer in animal ecology.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ojunga. Welcome
Thank you.
to our studio. And I just want to ask you a question. Today, our topic will be COVID-19 and the environment. Viewers, an extremely important and interesting topic COVID-19 and the environment. I want to ask you a question. In your view and your experience, how would you define the environment in the context of COVID-19?
Environment is the surroundings of man where we belong. All the surroundings comprising both of physical environment and biological environment. And therefore, that is where all our interactions are. So when you talk of COVID, which is now a current pandemic, then we are together with COVID in the same environment.
Very, very interesting answer. Very interesting answer. He has said that we are with COVID-19 in the same environment. Thank you. Yes. So in that case, has COVID-19 had any impact on the environment?
Yes, COVID-19 has had some great effects in the environment. Take, for example, all the normal activities of man. And we talk of the current normal activities where we go to work, we do business, we carry out some farm duties that sustain us. Some of them have been brought to a halt because of COVID-19.
Thank you very much. Yes, many things actually have come to a standstill, he says,
Yes.
because of COVID-19.
Yes.
Thank you for that, actually. And, during this time of COVID-19 and even in this lockdown that we find ourselves in, Mr. Ojunga, what do you think are some factors that we will call the driving forces for any infectious disease to thrive in our environment?
The major driving force of changes in the environment is the changes in the climate. And we know that climate are long-term conditions of the environment, including temperature, humidity, precipitation, and all these are central to how we interact in the environment. And when we talk of climate change, we are referring to certain changes in the environment which have been accumulated. These changes are now impacting directly on all the components of the environment, including man, animals, and plants. To an extent that some of those interactions have brought in adverse factors or particles that have changed how animals and man interact. To an extent that some animals have been driven away from their natural habitat. And when you drive the animal away, it is going to interact with another animal, and there's chances and or greater possibility of flow of certain agents. And we think that could be the driving force behind the emergence of infectious diseases. Apart from that, we also have the behavior of man because of the shrinking environment. There is a little bit of concentration of individuals in certain areas. And this will be associated with also matters of pollutants. How we deal with our waste, the food where we get it from, how we handle them.
Thank you
And,
very
and
much.
we
Yes.
refer to that to even the prevention measures of COVID, because they deal much with how we handle these things so that we keep ourselves from taking in some of those agents from the environment.
Hmm. Very, very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Ojunga. In fact, you have told us some very interesting things, and we really want to know from you. We want to know from you, how has COVID-19, this lockdown period, okay, impacted on, for example, air pollution and travel?
Let me put it first of all this way, that normally when we talk of climate change, it impacts on three important areas: development. It also impacts on our spirituality, because the environment, when it is free of pathogens, we refer to it as holistic, self-sustaining, can manage any new changes. But because of the influx of infectious diseases that has now interrupted our development, it has first of all shut down our economy.
Yes.
And therefore, we cannot now start talking development if we don't deal with our own economy. That means how we manage, how we sustainably manage ourselves. So, COVID has now disrupted our network, our normal operation, and has even taken away some of the essential important sources in the environment that we rely on. For example, we can't move. Now, let me come down to lockdown. What has lockdown done? Lockdown is the best method to prevent you from coming into contact with environment which are already perceived to be dangerous. So it was the best method to be used to stop the spread or transmission of lockdown. But remember, it has already moved into us. When do you think we should have stopped it? When we first detected that there is a new uh, agent in the environment that is not safer to us, we should have applied a lockdown immediately, and then we stop the flow. Now it has come in. Then we have to change our approach. It is not just a question of lockdown now, but a question of preventing or protecting yourself from getting it from the environment, because it's already there. And in which environment we have now we call it human environment, where human environment is made up of man-made things. Now we have to protect ourselves from the human environment.
Hmm. Thank you very much, Mr. Ojunga. Quite interesting there, okay? He's telling us that actually right now, the human environment is the focus.
Yes.
You as a human being need to protect yourself.
Yes.
Yes. And then when you say the human environment again, we are actually protecting ourselves, okay, from the COVID-19.
Yes.
So that is extremely important for us to know. And there are some things that we can do, of course, to protect ourselves. Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Ojunga, for this interview, and we really appreciate. Do you have any last word for our audience before we leave the studio?
Uh, for our audience, knowing the environment, that it has an ability to resist changes, and it uses different methods to resist. One of them is to allow, for example, an infectious agent like COVID, it can allow it now to eliminate those who are not conscious of the environment. For example, anybody who now perceives that the environment is clean, there's nothing like COVID, you will be swept out, because that's how the environment works out. So you will either die, which we will not protect you, because that is how the environment works, or if you make your environment clean, you will be able to regenerate and have your life protected. So it is important for us now, therefore, to pay attention to the environment. And then let's pay attention to how we now prevent the flow from human to human. Do not ignore the use of masks, because that is now the greatest root. The environment is already having COVID. The danger again with COVID is that for us, it is asymptomatic, which means you will never know who has it, which environment has it. The best is use those preventive measures and you will be safe. If you ignore, you will be gone.
Thank you, Mr. Ojunga. Thank you. That was a very, very powerful ending statement from you. He is saying to us that we should not ignore the fact that the virus is there, even though we do not see it. The virus is already in the environment. It is important for us to try our best to take into consideration all those measures from the WHO and from the Ministry of Health. Thank you, Mr. Junga, once more for coming to our studio, and we will be calling you again to talk more about COVID-19 and the environment. We are Baraton TV, here and hereafter, coming to you once again from the beautiful campus of the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.